Here we go.
Hello and welcome to Bounding into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief at Bounding into Comics. Today I got a story about science fiction novelist Patrick Tomlinson suggesting that Ukrainians use water balloons to disable Russian tanks. You might think I'm joking or that he's joking. He's not. He's being 100% serious, and I'm not joking because this guy actually suggested using water balloons to disable Russian tanks. This is what he tweeted on February 25th, 2022. He wrote, "Fun fact, hashtag Ukraine. A water balloon filled with $1 of paint thrown at the periscopes can disable a tank as fast as a $150,000 Javelin missile. Please do have fun." In a subsequent tweet, he doubled down, saying, "Learn from us, tanks are not assets in an urban environment, they are anchors. Armored assets require a significant number of infantry to protect them from you. Shoot out their scopes with rifles, throw cocktails into their engine decks, turn them into ovens." Tweets like these are what I was talking about yesterday in my video about Amanda Abington giving her advice to celebrities that they should be quiet and basically shut the F up when it comes to Ukraine and Russia. And I think Patrick Tomlinson needs to take her advice because he's definitely one of those people that clearly has no idea what he is talking about and just spewing absolute nonsense into the ether. And that's what this is. This is absolute nonsense. And I'll admit I am not an expert on tank warfare, but a quick Google search took me to the Modern War Institute at West Point, which literally has an article titled "On Killing Tanks" by Vincent Delaney that was written on March 23, 2020. And if you don't know anything about the Modern War Institute at West Point, they describe themselves as, quote, "a national resource within the Department of Military Instruction that studies recent and ongoing conflicts to prepare present and future leaders to win in a complex world." And in this report on how to kill tanks, they provide tactics on how they use to defeat active protection systems, APS. APS are described as, quote, "systems designed to protect their armored vehicles from the most likely threats from infantry. Specifically, the systems, quote, electronically sense incoming direct fire ATGMs, anti-tank guided missiles, and heat munitions, and they defeat the incoming munitions before they impact the vehicle." In order to defeat these systems, the Modern War Institute suggests 4 different tactics. First, they suggest firing, quote, "a single missile as soon as the target enters the engagement area." They explain a vehicle that has an APS might be defeated through the simple malfunctioning of its unit, and targeting it quickly would aim to induce such a malfunction. A keyhole shot from a fire and forget system can minimize the risk the commander would assume while potentially destroying the enemy vehicle. Next, they suggest overwhelming the system with multiple missiles. However, they note this tactic might not work depending on the APS deployed. The Modern War Institute details, "Coordinating multiple anti-tank teams attacking the same target nearly simultaneously and from different angles is not an easy task. To defeat the arena system, which is a type of APS system, for example, a commander would have to coordinate multiple missiles arriving from different directions simultaneously. A multi-directional attack could also force the vehicle to expose the rear of the system to one of the anti-tank teams, enabling their missile to bypass the protection. The arena has this rear vulnerability, but the trophy and GL5 do not." The third tactic they suggest is to use indirect fire to damage the system or trigger it to fire. They explain, "Accurate sustained fire from company 60mm mortars or M320 grenade launchers or calling for fire from higher echelons could damage the system while preventing enemy direct fire weapons from engaging. A well-constructed defense could also use preparatory fires to deteriorate APS capabilities before a tank enters the engagement area to such an extent that the trial shot can have a chance of success." Finally, the fourth tactic they suggest is to simply use munitions that are not countered by the APS to engage and damage it. They explain, "A high-caliber machine gun could be fired in an effort to destroy the munition casings or damage the sensors. A rocket could also be fired so that it explodes next to the vehicle instead of being directed at it. An APS might not deem this shot a threat, and a skilled shot aimed at a nearby wall, for example, could potentially produce enough shrapnel to damage sensors or munition casings and be followed up by a shot that then has a higher probability of success." They also note direct fire degradation is a more risky option, but could be planned as a fallback tactic if indirect preparatory fires are not sufficient and the unit is unable to engage with enough simultaneous anti-tank munitions to overwhelm the system. Clearly, they do not suggest using water balloons, and they definitely don't suggest using water balloons filled with paint. And then as for the idea of shooting out their scopes with rifles, they clearly don't suggest that either. Instead, they actually are suggesting you to shoot at objects in the environment, such as a nearby wall, to create enough shrapnel to damage the sensors. And again, this literally just took a quick Google search to find the Modern War Institute and this paper that they have on how to kill tanks that they wrote 2 years ago. So even if they wrote this 2 years ago, you assume that the technology has advanced even more significantly since then. Finally, again, I just want to reiterate, sometimes if you don't know what you're talking about, it's better to just be quiet and not comment whatsoever. Or at the very least, do what I just did and actually do some research on it and get some expert opinion on it. And that's not to say all experts are correct on everything. Clearly, we've seen that over the past 2 years, that there are a lot of quote-unquote experts that have got things completely wrong, but you should at least do your own due diligence and do some research, unlike Patrick Tomlinson here, who is just throwing out absolutely insane ideas. Those are my thoughts on the matter. Let me know what you think. My name is John Trent, and you've been watching Bounding into Comics.